Good morning. We're live. First live Monday of the new high school basketball season. I'm your host, Charles Campbell, HoopDFW.com, your home for Dallas Fort Worth High School basketball. Thanks for everybody joining us. I'm gonna let everybody hop in real quick. Shout us out in the chat. Send your comments, questions about DFW high school basketball, man. I'm excited. Normally it's me and a couple of guests, but I decided to take a chance on myself. So we're gonna try this monologue thing. Give you a little Stephen A. Smith, a little Stephen A. Smith action this morning. But good opening weekend of basketball. We had the Noble Classic. We had the Cowtown tip off. Jimmy Gales. We also had the Quinite Invitational. Lots of great basketball going on in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. A great opportunity for some teams to stop playing against each other, beating up on each other in practice, and get on up in here, man. Top of the hour. We gotta talk about some of these wins. The Hoop DFW rankings, they didn't do too bad in this first week. We had some interesting results, but for the first week, it was not a bad week for the Hoop DFW rankings. But we gotta talk about Red Oak and Grand Prairie. I didn't see the game, so I'm not speaking from the point that I saw the game. I'm just simply speaking on the score and a little bit of information I received from some coaches and those who were attendance. I don't think anybody was expecting Grand Prairie to win that game, and especially the way that they won that game, a big time double digit win. It seems like it just wasn't Red Oaks night. It just looks like it was not Red Oaks night. But Grand Prairie making a statement. Stephen McLeod Jr. looks like he's turning the corner, becoming a real big time offensive threat. We already knew he had the ability to rebound the basketball. We knew he was a shot blocker defender. We knew he had the great length. But the game that from what I'm seeing, um, Grand Prairie has something to say. I don't know if they didn't like my rankings. I went over this summer, hung out with Coach Brown, saw the group, saw his work ethic, his buy-in from him and his staff to his players, back to him. And yeah, I don't think anybody was expecting Red Oak to drop their first game of the season. They were arguably, for me, they were arguably the top team in Dallas Fort Worth. But after this week, I will drop team rankings. I'll start dropping those on Tuesdays so I can have my show on Mondays. Maybe I'll do it Monday. I don't know. Friendsgiving. We had a Friendsgiving yesterday, so I was not doing anything basketball related yesterday. So I'll drop rankings tomorrow. I will drop it Monday. We can talk about them on the show. But yeah, we did not expect. I didn't expect. I know it was not expected that Red Oak would lose to Grand Prairie. Um, Carter and Melissa. Carter number one overall in the Hoop DFW preseason Power 25. I got there at halftime. I was there at the Quinite for a little bit, popped my head in for the championship game, and then swung up the street to Carter. When I walked in, Carter was up 19 points on Melissa. Now, what I will say is Trey Edwards was out. He was sick. Here he has a flu. Hope you get better, Trey. Cohen LaCour, I heard he has a knee injury, something going on with his knee. So can't wait for you to get back. But they still have two legitimate Division I players, and the beatdown that Carter handed out, I just wasn't expecting it. Caden Eason, 2027 junior, Caden Eason, wing, accepted that assignment on all everything 5-star guard Austin Gooseby, who will be committing this week, by the way. Austin Gooseby for Melissa, top 25 player in the country. I think he's a McDonald's All-American. Hopefully he's done everything to be a McDonald's All-American. But the team had a rough night. However, you got to give it up to Carter. They are focused. Talk to the coach Love. Talk to some of the players after the game. The interviews will be dropping on the Instagram page here in a minute. They are on a mission. They took that game, that loss last year in a regional final, to Kimball. The way Kimball beat them down and had them embarrassed in front of DISD and Ellis Davis, the Kimball Carter rivalry, and the way that Kimball did them last year. has them really focused on one thing this year. One, well, excuse me, two things. First is getting back all of those losses, especially the Kimball loss. That game is going to be insane when they play. But two, they want a state championship, their first state championship in school history. And they feel like this year is the year. And on top of that, they're all sophomores and juniors. All of the guys contributing, Shakir Kazee, Amarion Hunter, Terrell Jackson, Caden Eason, like I just mentioned. They're all juniors and sophomores. Terrell Jackson being a sophomore. Kimball is making a statement. They told me that that was a statement when they had been planning for Melissa this entire time. Gooseby defending him and seeing where they were against a 5-star player because they have a schedule. They go out to Vegas. They playing in the Tarkanian Classic, and if you know anything about high school basketball, you know that the Tarkanian Classic is 100% one of the toughest, most competitive tournaments in the country. But Carter, Carter is ready to go. Um, they're making a statement, and make a statement they did. Like I said, I got there at halftime, and Carter was up 19 already. I was really really surprised that they were, and then they just ran away with it. They ran away with it, and it just became one of those things where it was almost like, did Melissa belong on the same floor as them? I mean, they controlled every aspect of the game. They controlled uh, from top to bottom, defense, offense, transition, rebounds, interior. Amarion Hunter is a really really good point guard. I think we have to start at the top of the point guard race in Dallas Fort Worth. We have um, you obviously have Isaac Hayes at North Crowley. You have Deuce Hunt at Duncanville. Amarion Hunter. I don't know, and a lot of you will disagree with me, but I don't know. I don't know if there's much separation in those three guards. They all play a different style of game. But Amarion Hunter has become a real offensive threat, a real offensive problem for um, for for Carter High School. I mean, the mid-range game, he's shooting the basketball extremely well, but his mid-range game, he gets to that elbow, he gets to the middle of the floor, gets to his spots, and it's the raise up. He's raising up on anybody. He's to the point now where coaches, if you're listening, if you're coming up with a game plan, and I know Love is like, man, why are you giving these dudes the keys to beat me? But you got to put somebody on him that has length. He's got to have some other guards in the class, other guards that he's playing against that are around his size, around his athleticism. A lot of them don't stand a chance because he is so good at getting to his spot and raising up. He reminds me of a little bit of Mo Williams, a little bit of the way that Mo Williams, head coach at Jackson State, the way he played with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the way he played at Alabama in college. Just a mid range assassin, a 3-point shooter. Not a big guy's going to go and finish, a lot in the lane. Doesn't really get there a lot. Not really interested in getting there. When he gets to his spot, it's a raise up and it's a bucket. But Carter High School really, really made a statement. Parrish went 1-0, beating DeSoto's 61-55. North Crowley handled business at the Cowtown Shootout twice. Birdville beat Den Geyer. Um, I know I talked to Coach Holman last week, and he, was interested in what Geyer had. I mean, obviously, Geyer's got Silas Rodriguez. He's the main piece for them. But I don't know if we were expecting them to beat Geyer just simply because of the 5A to 6A. But 5A is the class. 5A is the class to really kind of bring it home for us. 6A, not sure, on the fence. Saw some scores. I saw Tascasita and Seven Lakes played this weekend. Kind of the predictors of who will come out of Houston they played. But I mean, Geyer is somebody we're hanging a hat on. Won last season, won state championship last season. Lost a major piece. He's a freshman up there at UTA. So they're going to figure it out. So an early season loss. Um, let's talk about Little Elm. Little Elm is 2-0, really standing up to what I say, who they are. Frisco Memorial. Frisco Memorial has a win, 1-0. Lancaster, 2-1. Watch their game against Faith Family. It's a scrappy bunch. It's not your normal Lancaster team. I think they have the pieces. They're just a small group. They're just not a big group. They have one player, I believe he's 6'6", maybe 6'7", post player, but that team is Vincent Green's team. And when he's scoring the basketball, he is one of the one of the best scorers in the area. And so that's definitely Vincent Green's team. This is so crazy. Give me one second. Podcasting live, home alone. My doorbell just rang. Got to go get the doorbell. Give me 1 second. Be right back. Oh. Okay, I'm back. Thank y'all for staying with me. My dog got out of my yard. My neighbor was bringing my dog back. I got an extra large bully pit bull mix, and my pit bull mix got out. He was outside. Neighbor brought him back. That's why you have good neighbors. But back to what I was saying. Lancaster Faith Family. Um, First, Lancaster. Um, Smaller group, not the typical group. Same style of play though. Same hard playing group. Same, hard coaching from the sideline. But they're not the same group. They aren't. Not this year. But that team, I still have them at the top of the District of Doom, because the District of Doom just really isn't that strong to me. I don't have Duncanville. They escaped with a win this weekend. They beat Leadership Prep. Um, Early win, yes. Good win, will is still to be determined. We got to see who Leadership Prep is playing, who they're going to be beating, who they're going to be winning against. But Duncanville, we'll see. But in that District of Doom, I still have Lancaster winning. It's just not the same district it has been. But what I will say is that it's going to be an interesting dogfight for that district lead, for that district championship. Um, so there's a lot. It's early first weekend of the season. There's a lot to be left, but Lancaster's winning in district, just a different group, and they faced a really tough Faith Family team. That's a Faith Family. That's your first year in the EYBL Scholastic. This was the championship game of the Quinnite Invitational. Um, and Faith Family, they're young. A lot of their prospects are 27s, 28s. However, they play a really, really good brand of basketball. They share the ball really well. They defend. Not a lot of careless basketball turnovers. Not a lot of careless, just frivolously throwing the ball. Obviously some early season turnovers, but they're a really, really solid, really good group, led by some young players. The two twins that they have that are going to Wake Forest are a problem. They're big time problems. One on the interior, he's strong. He's got great footwork. He is just a real matchup nightmare for a high school basketball team. Now, this was a matter of what I would consider to be a prep school, even though Faith Family is a traditional high school in the sense of 9 through 12. But we know that they left UIO last year, played in a EIBC, won the EIBC, won a lot of games on that Nike Elite circuit, and now they're in EYBL Scholastic. So it's still left to be determined who they are on the Nike EYBL Scholastic. However, who they are here is a really good basketball team. They have pretty much everything you need: shooter, point guard, slasher, bigs. They have multiple bigs. Xavier Young comes off the bench. That's how good they are. You have a good player in Xavier Young, top 25 player in his class in the country in 2028, and he comes off the bench. The Twins are a problem. They're grown men in the post, but you can also kick it out. They shoot threes. They're solid catch and shoot 3-point shooters. Josiah Rose looks very good. Moments where I kind of saw him being a little, I wouldn't say passive. He just wasn't being as aggressive as he could be. But I think that team, when he gets on the gas and he's aggressive, it just opens it up. Josiah Jones, transfer from Harlan, Texas, Harlan High School. Out of that San Antonio area, took his team far last year. He's now at Faith Family, comes off the bench. He is a microwave. That's a microwave. He can get to he can get to kind of really pretty much wherever he wants to get to on the floor and however he wants to get there. He can shoot it, he can slash. He is their six-man offense coming off the bench. You got Max Moody coming in off the bench as a backup point guard. Max Moody was at Stony Point last year. He's probably the starting point guard at Stony Point this year. He's that good as a sophomore. Um, it's just a well-rounded group for Faith Family, and we get to see him on Tuesday. Snoop Johnson has a wonderful event on Tuesday, the Champions Classic, and we get to see them match up against Dynamic Prep. And this is what I will say. Normally when it comes to high school basketball here in Dallas, I'm able to be unbiased. I have to be very fair and free. But Faith Family plays away from here. They represent us in the Nike EYBL Scholastic High School League. Dynamic Prep represents us in the OTE League. We should get behind those guys. We really should. We should be supporting them because they represent Dallas Fort Worth to the rest of the nation. Not saying that these other programs do, because when I'm out of town or when I'm watching scores and we're in tournaments away from Dallas and we're playing non-Dallas schools, I'm rooting for you. It's just when we're here, I can't root for you. I just can't. Unless you're the Mesquite Skeeters. I'm a Skeeter, played at Mesquite for a year and a half. I'm definitely rooting for Mesquite. But other than that, we definitely should be behind Faith Family. We definitely should be behind Dynamic Prep. They represent us to the country. But Faith Family is a really good basketball team. Moving on, Duncanville, like I said, got the win against Leadership Prep. Allen went 2-0. Faced some early adversity, got the win. Allen is 2-0. Denton Guard, they dropped 2 games. Denton Ryan, like I said, Birdville. Birdville started the season the week before the preseason Scholastic. They dropped a tough one to Red Oak. Kind of got beat up a little bit. Coach hit me and said, "Man, we can win that game." He sent me a text. I was like, "Hey, we can win that game. We can make it happen. We're not done yet." And I think it was just a wake up call. It's like, okay, we're on this level. We got to go to a next level. They responded really well, won the first game of the season, beat a really good Denton Guard team. South Grand Prairie, they caught a loss to Frisco Heritage. Frisco Heritage started off number 25 in my ranking because it was going to be the Bryson Howard show. Cameron Lomax left, Faith Family went back home, and it looks like they picked up right where they left off last season, right before the state championship. Big win against South Grand Prairie, 76-48. Again, talked about Grand Prairie beating Red Oak. They beat them 62-43. Arlington Martin, next up in our rankings, they dropped 2 games. One to number 17, Timberview, and then one to number 8, Memorial. Timberview goes 2-0. Mesquite with a loss. I just talked about my Skeeters. They had a loss to J.J. Pierce. The Colony drops 1 to Summit. A lot of people are talking about Summit. They won the state championship last year. And then they lost a lot of pieces. Theo Brennan left. He's at South Central Prep in Oklahoma. They kind of lost a lot. But they opened the season up against a really decent the Colony team and got a victory 65-56. And then rounding that out, Grace Prep, Kimball Sock, Green Hill, Kennedale, and Frisco Heritage. Kennedale with another big win. I don't have scores for Sock or Grace Prep yet, but solid week in the HoopDFW Top 25. Hit me in the comments. Who do y'all think should be included? Who do y'all think should be mentioned in the HoopDFW Top 25? Looking at some of the comments, Coach Scott, thanks for joining us. Keep up the great work. It's appreciated. Carter, hey, Scott, Carter deserves the credit. They do. Carter, Carter really, they really made a statement. Watching them, it was they control. Like I said before, they controlled every aspect of the game. They controlled it from top to bottom, beginning to end. They completely controlled it. They definitely deserve the credit. Um, Chris, Chris Hunt called me the homer. The homer of all Duncanville High School homers calls me a homer. It's hilarious. But you know what we can say about this particular season in DFW high school basketball is parity. We have a lot of teams here that are kind of on the same levels. There's only a few that have kind of stood out early, but like we just had Red Oak lose, it kind of drops them back a notch, in my opinion. It kind of boosts Grand Prairie up, even though that's a 6A 5A matchup. Grand Prairie, again, like I said, I didn't expect them to win the game. I really did not expect them to win. Expect them to go on and say, "Hey, um, we're gonna beat them by double digits." I mean, I didn't see the game, but again, uh, it seems like they didn't have any trouble, and that's just really surprising because they are an excellent group over there at Red Oak. So it's just back to the drawing board, but extremely early in the season. Um, but I really, really want to talk about Tuesday, Champions Classic coming up. Snoop Johnson basketball, Champions Classic. Uh, big game at 5 o'clock. Faith Family Dynamic Prep. If you're watching, um, if you are watching the OTE League, you'll see that Dynamic Prep is playing really well. They are one of the top teams. A lot of people consider them the top team, even though they've lost two now to the YNG Dreamers. Um, but they are one of the best teams, if not the best team in OTE. Really strong group. Seven Spurlock, Cam McGilvery, number one player in the country. Marcus Spears is playing out of his mind right now. Um, and just a lot of good pieces. David Ballerin. And so 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock at Lancaster High School. Dynamic Prep versus Faith Family. I was talking to Stacy Houston of the Impact Academy. We were kind of just talking about the game this past coming up. We were talking about it on Saturday, but it's coming up for Tuesday. And we were both kind of, who one was for Dynamic. I'm not gonna say one was for Faith. I'm not gonna say, but we were both kind of anybody could take that game. It's a really a brand of two excellent defensive teams. I still trying to tip my hat a little bit to Dynamic Prep because you have a really strong lockdown point guard in Cam McGilvery. Then you have a lockdown wing in Seven Spurlock. Follow that on the backside by Marcus Spears, David Ballerin. It's a really good defensive group. Then you have offensive firepower in Dakari Spear. He's been a walking 30 ball lately in the OTE league, just kind of putting the country on notice and giving everybody a display of who he is. Um, but again, back over to Faith Family, you have the twins, Xavier Young, Josiah Rose, a lot of Josiah Jones, a lot of players, Young coming off the bench. It's going to be a heavyweight matchup. If you want to see elite level prep school basketball, 5 o'clock, Lancaster High School, Faith Family Dynamic Prep. Then game number two, I was going to say, before this weekend that Red Oak is a runaway with this. I don't think Duncanville matches up very well with them. But after this recent loss, I'm not sure. AJ shout out on the comment. They'll bounce back. They play bad. They'll bounce back. I agree. I mean, it is a bounce back game. Not the easiest bounce back game because it's Duncanville on a showcase stage in the city. And like Ford told me a couple of weeks ago, Duncanville ain't gone anywhere. They're the city of champions. They've been the city of champions since the 50s, so nothing has changed. Um, but that's a really, really another really good game. Red Oak and Duncanville. Going to see a really good point guard matchup right there in KJ Bradford and Deuce Hunt. Again, KJ Bradford's more of a playmaker, creator, can shoot it, can score it, kind of acrobatic around the rim. Deuce Hunt, lefty, likes to get to his spots, can shoot it. Surprisingly, will dunk you, which is interesting. But it'll be a good matchup. Both teams will play hard. A lot of city pride, a lot of bragging rights. They're not in the same UIL classifications, districts, any of that. So it'll be a big time bragging rights game. And these kids know each other. They're all familiar with each other. And then to finish it out, the Lancaster and Kimball game. I have Lancaster winning that one. Kimball is having, they're not the same Kimball that they were last year. But one thing that Nick Smith is going to do, Hollywood Nicky as he likes to be called, is he's going to coach hard, which in turn makes his players play hard. And on nights where shots aren't falling, it will be a long night for Kimball. But the nights where they're hitting shots, they are going to be a very tough team to play. Even in that Faith Family game, there was some tangling. I mean, excuse me, not in the Faith Family game. Um, Kimball played Legion Prep. They lost to Legion Prep. I watched some of that one before the Faith Family game, and even throughout that entire game, the physicality, the attitude, some of the intimidation, some of the we're here, we're Kimball. It's still there. It stands out. And they brought that to that Legion Prep. It wasn't a good win for them. They lost big time to Legion Prep. But I don't have them in the same category. Legion Prep is 100% a prep school. Kimball is definitely a public high school. However, in a matchup of two high schools, in a matchup of a Lancaster and a Kimball, bragging rights, south side of the city, I think that I think Lancaster ends up winning it. They just have a little bit, they have a little more pieces, some of the better pieces. But Kimball will be right there. I mean, it's Kimball High School. They're not gonna go down without a fight. They're not gonna go down quietly. But I made this comment and it's pretty interesting. A lot of the teams that have been historically beating up on people, bullying teams, are now kind of in a position where they're getting some of that back. They're getting some of that back. They're getting teams aren't afraid anymore. They're coming in not intimidated, not worried about what they're doing, not worried about who's on the floor, not worried about who's yelling in the stands, who's yelling. They're worried about these are some down years for these schools right now, and it's a matter of we got to get us one or two while they're down. Because what I can tell you, what I do know, is that when they're back up, all of these losses and the way that people are going at these schools, the Duncanvilles, the Lancasters, the Kimballs, while they're rebuilding, while they're grooming their young talent, while they're getting back to, playing some of that elite level basketball, they're writing y'all names down. Understand it. They're writing your names down. They're seeing who's, gloating, who's showboating, who is saying, "Oh, we beat them, we beat them." They will be back. 100%. They will be back. And, just be ready. Just be ready. You have to be ready. Because I will say this. Obviously first week in the season, um, everybody's excited to play, but nobody's saying our season is over with right now. It was a good starting place to say, okay, this is where we are, and now they know where they need to be. So, but if you're facing these Southern Dallas schools in January and February, they're gonna be tough victories that you're gonna have to pull out. You're gonna need your dogs. I think Melissa kind of found that out at Carter, because Melissa's a very good team. Let's not be mistaken. The Muhammad kid that transferred in from Minnesota is very good. He did not have one of his best games for Melissa. I was told by Coach Love, head coach at Carter, the game plan was definitely to bang inside, pound it inside, and just be physical and overly aggressive with Melissa. And it paid off. But without your point guard, without your 4-star shooting guard, it kind of leaves everything up to Gooseby. And that's not the easiest thing to do. It is high school basketball. He is an excellent high school basketball player. It's still, that's just not the easiest. That's not the easiest thing to do. Shout out the chat. Throw some questions out there. I would love to hear from you. Answer some of your questions. See what you have to say. GP is top 10, no debate. Much love, Coach Hurd. Shout out Coach Hurd, assistant coach at Grand Prairie. Says GP is top 10, no debate. And he did. And what I will say is that he did shoot me a DM and was like, they beat Red Oak, a team that I'm very high on. So I got you. But top 10, we'll just have to see tomorrow. We will have to see tomorrow. But that was a very good victory. They definitely, Grand Prairie definitely deserves more respect on their name, more respect on what they're bringing to the table. Um, so, but that's it. Week one, I'm not here long on the live Mondays. I will have some guests coming up. More good basketball this week. Like I said, Tuesday, Champions Classic, Lancaster High School. Then you have the Noble, uh, Noble High School Classic at Paul Quinn. I'm back at Paul Quinn this weekend to watch the Noble. But also, Hoop DFW, the magazine, is here. It's here. Your guide to the Dallas Fort Worth high school season. I got player rankings for class of 2026. I have an honorable mentions list, excuse me, players watch list, honorable mentions for the class of 28 and 27. Team preview. We have the team rankings, both prep school and public. Got a couple of cool articles in there. But pick it up. See me at the Noble this weekend. I will be there handing out copies. Or you can go online, hoopdfw.com, get your copy. Man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in next week. Jay Fry just hopped in. Like he said, I will be there. Hoop DFW magazine at the Noble. Man, stop by, say what's up. We got some cool pictures in there. A great piece for your coffee table, a great conversational piece for if you have businesses, barbershops. Man, Hoop DFW the magazine. I put it together with a lot of love, with a lot of care for the city. There's a problem. We got an issue here. One thing I will say, and I'm starting to notice this, and then I'm gonna get out of here, is we have an issue right now with how Dallas Fort Worth is represented to the national uh, national landscape. Before, you would see Dallas Fort Worth players all over the top 100 rankings, top players at events, McDonald's All Americans, and it just seems right now that there's not a lot of representation. I don't know why, but I promise you, one thing I can say is that Charles Campbell and Hoop DFW is talking about Dallas Fort Worth basketball to the nation, to all the top scouting services, the top ranking services, college coaches. I am definitely here fighting for, pushing, promoting your players, regardless of where they play in the summer, regardless of who they play for. So I just wanted to say that. I hope you guys have a great Monday. Join us again next week. We're going to talk the Noble Classic, another week in basketball. Player rankings are team rankings. Team rankings are dropping tomorrow. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. The first of many, many monologue episodes of Hoop DFW live Mondays. Join me next Monday at 10 o'clock. Have a good one.